Yo, what's going on everyone? It's Super Cafe back here on another video, and today we're going to be covering some more Nintendo Switch 2 leaks. We actually have some pretty interesting things to cover, and I don't see a lot of people talking about this, but that's why I'm here. I'm here to cover it, and I'm here to give you guys some information that I don't think a lot of other people know about. So what we're actually going to be covering in this video are a couple of things I just need to say in general, I guess. One, we're going to be covering, the leaks of the Nintendo Switch 2 dock, the JoyCon grip, a power bank, and sooner or later, I think the Pro Controller officially. I don't know when the Pro Controller part's going to be covering. That's not going to be in this video, but sooner or later in the next couple of days, I should be talking about that. I was going to make a different video for today, but if Nintendo Switch 2 stuff is happening, then I gotta talk about it. I'm also going to be making a video probably next month about what I do and don't want for the Nintendo Switch 2, considering games, the hardware, software, all that other stuff. So actually, I believe that's everything. The STL files for certain parts of the Nintendo Switch 2 have been leaked. If you don't know what an STL file is, it's basically like the official 3D model that they use to actually make the system itself. So 3D modelers get their hands on them, they can print out these mock-ups and stuff like that. So yeah, that actually got leaked. I mean, it already got leaked for the actual Nintendo Switch 2, of course. I found a source online that actually has the models for the Nintendo Switch 2 dock and the Joy-Con grip. I'm not going to be sharing any of that in that video. I'm not going to be sharing any of that in this video, of course, because I don't want the ninjas to come after me. So yeah, let's dive on into this. We have a very flat and basic model of, the Nintendo Switch 2 dock. It's just the front part. We've actually seen the front part of it, of course, in the official Nintendo Switch trailer for, the reveal of the Nintendo Switch 2. So there's nothing interesting here. But if we go on over to the second image over here, we can actually see the inside of the dock for the Nintendo Switch 2, which is pretty interesting. It looks like they're kind of going the same route where the charging port is, which is just going to be on the bottom, like two little thingies that stick up to charge the system, which makes sense. Which makes sense that they're going to bring it for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, one thing that I don't think appears in any of these images is actually the back flap that is going to be going above the Nintendo Switch 2. I don't know if there is even going to be one or if they're going to get rid of it entirely, but that little flap that hides all the cables behind your Nintendo Switch, I haven't seen that in any of these images, so I don't even know if that's going to be coming back in the Nintendo Switch 2. They might get rid of that. Now for this image right here is actually very, very interesting. We get a better look at the ventilation for the Nintendo Switch 2, and we can actually see here on the bottom of the system, like the very bottom, there's actually another image for it. There is actually, a better grip, I guess you could say, for the bottom of the system, so it doesn't slide as easily as the first Nintendo Switch. We can also see a HDMI port, a Ethernet port, just like how the OLED for the Nintendo Switch already had a built-in Ethernet cord. That, of course, is going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, which makes sense. I mean, why would they get rid of it in the first place? And then we can actually see another USB port. I'm pretty sure that the HDMI is 2.1, so that's different from what we have on the normal Nintendo Switch, I believe. And the actual USB, I am not too sure about. I don't know if it's also 3.0 or 2.1, but we'll just have to wait and see. I don't have the specs on this thing, or maybe somebody else will potentially confirm it later on. For the fourth picture, which I actually already talked about on the last picture or image, they're probably gonna be adding some kind of like rubber on the bottom of the system so it doesn't slide around as easily. I mean, when I'm taking my Switch in and out of my dock, it actually moves around a lot, so I'm glad they're trying to make this thing a lot more sturdy. The system itself is becoming more sturdy, and the dock itself is becoming more sturdy. I like how Nintendo is learning from their mistakes with the first Nintendo Switch and seeing how they can improve upon it with the Nintendo Switch 2. This is a very, very welcome change. And right here, we can actually see another side of the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm going to assume that these are both also USB ports. So it looks like the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to have 3 USB ports, 1 HDMI, and 1 Ethernet port. I think that's actually pretty good. I don't really see what else you would really need for this new system at all. They kept the USBs exactly the same. It looks like they kept all the ports the same as the first Nintendo Switch, besides, the Ethernet cord, which later came to the OLED. So I don't see anything that they could really need to add. I guess the only thing that I don't know where it's at is actually where the power cable is going to be going. Maybe the power cable was what I saw instead of it being another USB, but I don't know where that actually is going to be going. So I don't know how this thing's actually going to be, all juiced up and powered so we can actually play our systems on our TV and monitors. Now, that is it for the dock of the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, let's move on to the Joy-Con grip. I actually kind of forgot the name of the Joy-Con grip. I was like, what was that thing called? What was that little centerpiece thingy called for the Nintendo Switch? And I had to actually look it up, what is the middle part of the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons? And I was like, oh yeah, it's it's the grip. So we actually have 4 images of the Joy-Con grip. As you can see here, it's the first image. It actually looks pretty similar for what we already have for, you know, the normal Nintendo Switch. One thing that is a little bit different is that I don't see anything on the front. I don't see anything for the lights on the front for this Joy-Con grip, so I don't know if that's going to be actually coming back. I know that it's on the inside of, you know, the Joy-Con for the Nintendo Switch 2 where the lights are actually at, so I don't know if that's going to be coming back, but then again, this doesn't even have the Nintendo Switch logo on the front at all, so maybe just because this is like maybe an early prototype or not a finalized version, that's why it's not appearing on this Joy-Con grip, just like how the logo didn't appear for the Nintendo Switch 2 on the dock. It actually looks a little bit more bland than what we have with the first Nintendo Switch, but it looks comfortable, it looks bigger, it looks thicker, it looks, you know, like heavier and heftier, so it looks pretty good from my end. And then you can also see here that, of course, the side parts of the Joy-Con grip are different because, you know, they changed the Joy-Cons for the Nintendo Switch 2, so, you know, you're just gonna click those bad boys in by the side. No more sliding. We're done with sliding. The sliding for the Nintendo Switch era is over, all right? We're not sliding anymore. We're clicking, we're snapping, we're doing something. We're going like this, not like this. And then we can also see here we actually have a power bank, which actually doesn't have anything else on it. I don't see like a actual charging port. I don't see anything that uses like USB-A or USB-C on it, probably because it's just the STL file. So, you know, early version, early mock-up, or just not a finalized version that, you know, they're using. So random power bank, I'm gonna assume it's gonna be USB Type-C. I know that we have the brick for the first Nintendo Switch, which looks fine, I guess. I mean, it's nothing flashy, so maybe this one's gonna be a little bit smaller, a little bit rounder, I guess it looks fine. It looks a little bit more sleek and modern, I guess. Besides the brick, it's a little bit rounder. I mean, it's smaller, it looks more compact than what we actually have with the first Nintendo Switch, so it looks all right. And then we can also see the back of the Joy-Con grip as well. Looks pretty interesting, kind of looks exactly the same as what we have with the first Nintendo Switch, so nothing really interesting to note. And it looks like here, actually at the bottom of the system, it's going to be a little bit more rounder, and the further up we actually go on the Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Con grip, it is actually going to get a little bit slimmer, so it's probably going to have a better feel when you're actually, you know, playing games on your Nintendo Switch 2. So this little thing with this little hole here on the first Nintendo Switch, it looks like that part is actually gone for the Joy-Con grip on the Nintendo Switch 2. It looks like they kind of just extended out that part where this thing would have been, and then they just made it flat. So it looks like we're gonna get a little bit more hand room for this thing. So I'm glad we actually have the side profile of this Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Con grip, because it actually looks like this thing is going to be very, very comfortable. I find it funny how this main part of the Joy-Con grip has basically stayed exactly the same. They really just changed, you know, this back part of it. Look, one thing that I always found funny is like this part looks like it's so easily offable, like so snappable or whatever, but yeah, it kind of looks the same way on the Nintendo Switch 2, which I find to be very, very funny. And then of course we have another side view of the Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Con grip, which is also pretty interesting. You know, like I said before, it looks very, very round and big at the bottom. Then, you know, the further you go up, it's gonna get a lot more slimmer, and it looks really, really comfortable. I would like to test it out and see how it feels compared to a normal Nintendo Switch Joy-Con grip combo. It looks pretty interesting. And then of course we still have that charger. I don't know what that's for. I don't know if that's going to be the charger for the Switch 2. It looks really, really small, so I don't know how they were going to hold all that power inside that little, you know, power bank, but who knows, maybe they made it work. And if we actually do get a smaller power bank, that'd be much appreciated. I don't think the one that we have now is pretty big, but, you know, if they really kept the same power as what we have for the first Switch and put it in this new little one, hey, I'm not going to be complaining at all. And that is actually going to be it for all of these STL file leaks for the Nintendo Switch 2. And like I said, I believe that somebody is eventually going to be leaking the Pro Controller very, very soon. So if you guys are interested in what I do on this channel, then please stay tuned for that, because I have a feeling it's going to be coming very, very soon. And when it does actually leak and eventually drop online, I will be here to cover it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did. If you didn't, don't leave a like. Hopefully I'll earn it someday. This has been Super Cafe with your Nintendo Switch 2 leaks, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Peace out.